Well, that was fun. I didn't know Donskoy could deke somebody out of their shorts so bad. Welcome to another edition of Pucknology After Dark with a Sharks 2-1 victory in the shootout. Jonas Donskoy has got some great moves. You know who else has got some great moves? Ian Reed. Ian, how you doing tonight?
Good. I would suggest you should maybe YouTube some Jonas Donskoi from Finland because that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friend.
And we also have live on location Eric Cura himself, Mr. Puck Guy. But
Hello.
before
Oh,
But
sorry. Go
before
ahead.
we roll on over to him, please use the hashtag Pucknology After Dark and tweet at any one of us using the hashtag Pucknology After Dark. You can tweet me at Eric Landy. You can tweet at IReadPucknology. You can tweet at PuckGuy14. And we'll get your questions on the air. Of course, you always can use the chat. So, going to Mr.
Hello.
Puckeye himself. Puckeye, what did
Hello.
you think of the game?
All right. Well, good evening to you from San Pedro Square parking garage. Sharks win 2-1. It's the first time that they've won back-to-back home games since April 1st and 3rd of last year. Before I get run over, Gentry. Yay! Black Armor! Yes. Somebody's very happy that we are undefeated in the black jerseys.
And as Chester Giva liked to point out, we are now 1-0 in the 49ers Chip Kelly era.
Nice.
Hear me out.
Yes. I think overall they played pretty well.
It was
I
a
went to-
lackluster win. It was, and there were times where they seemed like they were putting up a good effort, and then there were times where it kind of seemed lackadaisical.
Yeah.
But 2 points is 2 points, and that puts us, I believe,
We're-
3 points or 2 points behind Phoenix for second in the division, which, considering where we were not that long ago, I'll take it.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at it, it's going to be a crazy race the rest of the way. We got 40 games left, and it's just going to be insanity after insanity. Kind of like this parking garage right now. But lackluster overtime. They looked absolutely terrible. Martin Jones kind of saved their asses. But Jonas Donskoy with a sweet move that beat Talbot like a rented mule. And I will send it back to you guys.
Back to me, Landy. Yeah, that's kind of my bit now. Yeah, I mean, that Sharks fan, yes, the chat does work. So,
Absolutely, chat works.
so go ahead and post any questions that you have. With that, the Sharks now have a firm grasp on the third spot in the division, and believe it or not, have come all the way back to tie it in the second wild card spot. So even if Vancouver does happen to win another game, you do have the wild card to fall back to. So that's pretty amazing because we had always said that those two wild card spots were going to go to Central Division teams, but now it looks like you've got the Sharks having that as a backup with the number of rows they have. So I will post the standings page right this instant, and we can see where the Sharks actually got. Or maybe we won't. No, I guess not. I guess Google Chat doesn't particularly like TIFF images. So,
Oh.
Ian, why don't you rap for a minute, and I will get the save to a JPEG.
Sure. Talking about the game tonight, going on what they were talking about, what Puck Guy was talking about, just about like the overtime. I think they were just gassed going into the overtime, and I think that when you're playing a 3-on-3, I think that favors the Oilers more, even if you're not gassed. Like, it just seems like those guys are going to be, like the Eberles and the Nugent Hopkins and the Halls. I mean, these guys are built for 3-on-3. They're fast, they're creative. And I just think the Sharks are gassed, and I'm glad that they were able to hold on, and Jones was really able to hold them in, because I thought after they played pretty good, and I thought they deserved the win, and it would have been a shame just to see them kind of get just run out of gas in overtime, and have one of these kids just fly around them and dump it into the goal. The other thing too is the Oilers I thought the Sharks played a good game. It just seemed like the Oilers, they're kind of like a pit viper, like you can kind of control a play for a while and then like bang, they're gone, and it's they break out and suddenly they're shooting on your goal. So, but I thought all in all it was a good effort for the Sharks tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, damn it, and now Generation X is going to hit me for a yeah, no. I thought that the game, it was very frustrating to watch, right? Because I think you had Talbot on his game, but the ice just looked really poor tonight. It looked like it was sticking a lot. Didn't look like there was much room for them to deke. Didn't look like there was much room to pass out there. And, even on the power play, you saw maybe one or two passes really quick and then a shot on goal. Just not a lot of area to move, not a lot of ice surface to really make good crisp passes on. So it was kind of a slog out game, and like I said before, Talbot was just on his game. He looked really good tonight. Jones looked good. I thought the one goal that he did allow, it was a 2-on-1 of course, but I felt like he kind of played the shooter a little too much, and you saw Braun had that shooter locked down, or was it Martin? It was either Martin or Braun, but had that shooter locked down, and I really wish he would have played the pass just a little bit more. He looked like he was leaning a little bit towards the shooter to me, and kind of left his far side post a little open to attack. But that was the one gripe I had. Felt like he played a really good game overall. He was rock solid in the shootout, and you know what? They get a road victory on home ice. That was literally what that looked like.
Yeah, I mean, they. I think I tweeted out my 3 stars of the game was Jones, and Vlasic.
Yeah, well, and you got to look at Couture too. He had 11 or 12 shots on goal tonight.
Yeah.
And they looked pretty damn good. I mean, some of those were the only second opportunities that the Sharks got tonight. So I liked the way Logan was playing. I liked his nose for the net tonight. He just didn't get it in, but not a lot of people did. So let me throw up that standings page like I promised. And now you see the Sharks in third place firmly with 46 points. They finally get out of that tie with Vancouver. It looked like they were going to stay tied with Vancouver forever, but not anymore. They have the grasp on the third place now. And believe it or not, they are at a +6 in the differential, which is pretty amazing. They're the only other plus differential
that
in
Leafs game helped that a lot.
Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy that they're the only plus in the division.
Other than LA.
Other than LA. And LA, is running over this division like gangbusters. And now we are joined, I'm guessing, in the club level by Mr. AJ Strong himself. AJ, what did you think of the game tonight?
It's cool, man.
Oh, and rocket backhander.
It's cool, bro. Hold on. The only reason why is Eric here too?
Eric is here.
What the fuck? Oh, let me guess. He's walking out to his Blair Witch Project.
No.
Dead people.
Dude, that's 6 cents.
Oh, close enough.
Okay. The only reason why I logged in, I was like, okay, it was an interesting game, and I've never seen 3-on-3 live before, which I thought was really cool. But I did have to say this is the coolest. I'll talk about the Jamie Baker experience after the next show, but tonight I just had to come in to tell you, dude, literally, I shit you not, during the third period, I went to the Shark store to find out if you could. First off, I wanted to find out if they had heritage jerseys that were authentic, where the shoulder patches were stitched, and yes, they are.
Hello.
And I wanted to. Oh, that's not stitched.
Only $300.
Bro. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna look at this. Hold on, let's see it. No, that shit is fucking iron-on. This, look at his, look at yours. Look at his, look at that. Is stitched. This is stitched. That is iron-on. Well, I'm not judging you on it.
AJ, no one cares. Get to the point.
Okay. All right, so anyway, here's the best part, dude. I go up to the counter at the Shark store to ask about authentic heritage jerseys, and the guy goes, the guy behind the counter wearing the fucking name tag goes, "Are you doing Pucknology tonight?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're AJ, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Are you doing Pucknology tonight?" And I said, "Why might I check in?" And I was just like, I'm like, "Dude, that's so fucking cool. You watch." And then what was cool is he actually told me like his Twitter handle. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. But it was just way fucking cool because we've exchanged some tweets. I was just blown away, dude. I'm like, there's nothing coming up to the counter. It's like, "Are you doing Pucknology?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" Dude, it's fucking
I believe it's the same guy that me and Gentry got stopped to last week.
Yes.
So yeah, it's getting the word around.
He had actually mentioned that he mentioned you and Gentry when we were talking. So yeah, that was just so cool to like run into an actual Pucknology After Dark viewer. I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Awesome.
But with that, have a good night, guys. Chances are you won't be on when I get home, but I will see you after the Dallas game.
Oh, you never know. Me and Landy can spin a yarn.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude, and don't think I don't root for that. And if you can make that last for about 45 minutes, I'll be back for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the one and only AJ Strong. Oh, I love him. But yeah, it's pretty cool to get some name drops here and there, and this little thing that we did is starting to get big, and that's crazy. But anyhow, back to the
Hopefully
game.
we'll be as big as TRL one day.
Yeah, TRL, exactly.
Oh man.
Wow. So I guess where do we go from there? Sharks played a decent road game at home, and I think right now you've got to just get the wins. It doesn't matter how ugly they are.
Yeah, no, I you know what, and I don't think this was particularly ugly. In fact, I think like the Sharks have really, for the most part, played 5 pretty decent games. I mean, the Jets game had its moments where I don't think the Sharks were fantastic, but I think there was just the nature of that game. I mean, it was a boring game to watch, so maybe it was just more like it just wasn't enjoyable to watch than it was bad. But I mean, the Sharks have really put together a good string of games here, including that game that they lost in Detroit, where Detroit was lost here, because I thought they played well, and that's carried over, and I think that's what was important. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. And me and Ian had a little bit of a back and forth after the Detroit game. It was kind of funny, but it really, to me, it boiled down to you had lost so many games on home ice. You just needed to reverse it any way you could. It doesn't matter whether or not you played well, because that doesn't stand for anything in the standings, unless you get it to overtime, right? And then you get rewarded for good play. But they didn't even get it to overtime. They coughed it up in the third period, and that was that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I guess, why I was so frustrated over that game. Not the way that they played, because they did play a good game, and the bounces didn't go their way. Their fate could have been better. However, I felt like it was just another reason for another home loss. And at this point, when at the time, they had only had 5 victories at home, that doesn't cut it. Now we're at 7-12. They've started to dig themselves out of the hole, but the hole is still pretty deep.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't just like take this game and it's like you said, we're firmly in third, but I don't know if I'd consider us that firm. I mean, the point spread is so narrow. I mean, just from us all the way down to Edmonton. I mean, there's not very many points between us there. It's pretty much. I feel like other than LA, it's jump ball for the rest of us, because
right now it's 7 points between Edmonton and us right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just any combination of 2 teams are going to make up those other 2 points. And I mean, it's nice that we're like you mentioned earlier, Landy, how we're getting to the point now where some of the Pacific teams could actually legitimately hold a wild card spot. So I think that is better. But I mean, I wouldn't say we're firmly in anything. That could change by next week, and we could switch spots with Edmonton, and because that's just the way the Pacific is right now.
Yeah, well, that just goes to show you that we need to put a premium on these home wins. You've got Dallas coming in, and that's a juggernaut of an opponent, and you've got to be just to be on top of your game to maybe equal out their play. Maybe. But you don't even equal. I think just the sheer talent alone of Dallas offensively is pretty monstrous, and I don't know that the Sharks necessarily even out. However, the play of all the centers on the Sharks have made me think that maybe this is the good depth that we're seeing. Maybe this is finally the cream of the crop kind of rising to the top, and finally we do get to see that touted depth that we were talking about in the preseason, in training camp.
But, I mean, and Logan Couture getting up to game speed obviously helps that significantly, because he just seems to get better every game. Like you said, he had, 11 shots on goal. He was a threat. I mean, Talbot made a lot of good saves tonight.
Yeah. And who knows how this shakes out, but you're going to need all hands on deck to try and just lock something down, because, like we said, it is a garbage division, but everybody is garbage besides
it
LA.
really is. Yeah, I mean, and they're garbage in a different way.
Right. The Sharks do still have a game in hand on Arizona, and they lost in overtime tonight, so they do pick up a point on Arizona.
Yeah.
They have 2 games in hand on Vancouver and 2 points up on Vancouver, which is good. And they are tied in games played with Los Angeles. So
plus we have the Rose.
We do have the Rose. The Sharks now have 20 rows, and that's third in the division behind Arizona. And it's nice to see that those rows are, paying dividends, because for a while you had Vancouver, who had over 27 losses, or actually at 27 losses.
Yeah.
Overtime and regulation be in a playoff spot, and that is just ridiculous. I mean, they had 10 more losses than they had wins, and they were in a playoff spot. I mean, no other sport do I know you could have a losing record and be in a playoff spot by that much.
Yeah, I mean,
to the New York Giants.
Remember, the NFL doesn't play by points; they play by wins. So, no, that would not work. I had a question for Puck Guy and Gentry, actually. I kept hearing the air raid siren go off tonight. Did anybody else hear that?
Yes, it was. Sharknado! We were expecting Sharknado to happen because it was crazy. I was like, are we in Texas right now? Yeah, they were testing out sound effects. They even had like that at the beginning of the period. Kind of THX, kind of sound. Right, and that's actually a ripoff from the Niner games when they kick off. So I don't know what that's all about. I know they also had like a GZ sounder a couple of games ago. So also, you still can't hear the goddamn goal song.
Yeah, if you didn't catch that, you still can't hear the goddamn goal song. Yes, that's true. I mean, I can barely hear it over TV.
Yeah.
And it's lame at this point. It's like, come on, guys. You guys can play around with these fancy sound effects, but you can't get the sound for a primary goal scoring song, right? It's such Bush League. It's such Bush League. Oh boy. And we got Generation X-Wing saying, screw you guys, I can't make another beer run. I guess I'm making him drink quite a bit. I'm turning him into an alcoholic, so my bad, Gen X.
So something in the chat here I thought that we should touch on, since it was kind of a decent conversation in the chat, was they're talking about the bottom pair with Dylan and DeMello. I was just curious, like, since we haven't talked to each other in a while, like, where are you on our bottom pair right now? Because I think that Dylan's been actually significantly better, and I think obviously, the correlation there seems to be DeMello, and I'm not saying that DeMello makes Dylan better or vice versa. It just seems that they gel pretty well as a pair.
It's interesting because when Dylan plays with Burns, my butthole clenches. It's like that. It's like, oh my God, these two together, it's just like, what the hell's going to go on? It's like Keystone Cops. You just don't know what the fuck's going to go on. With with DeMello and Dylan, I feel like it really is a lot quieter of a game.
Yeah.
It's just fluid. They don't make too many mistakes back there. I mean, DeMello does make an occasional misread here and there, but it's
Mhm.
nothing egregious because you still have Dylan who seems to be kind of shepherding him a little bit.
Mhm.
And when Dylan kind of goes out of his head and thinks, hey, I can, go in and force a goal by myself on the offensive side of the game, DeMello picks him up quite a bit. So I feel like yeah, DeMello and Dylan are starting to grow with each other, starting to gel, and really he's locked down that sixth spot. And I feel sorry for Matt Tennyson because you know what, once DeBoer finally
He's gonna
found
be
his
done.
guy.
He's a free agent at the end of the. Isn't he a UFA at the end of this year?
He's a UFA at the end.
Yeah,
of the
Yeah,
year.
he's going to be a UFA at the end of the season. So
Yeah, so he's got to be done.
Yeah, you either gotta move him, get some assets out of him. But I mean, Jamel has been really impressive with Dylan. At first, I thought they were going to be the new tire fire of the season, but so far they've gotten better as the pairings have kind of solidified. Because I kind of felt like Dylan was just going to be like, who's going to be my defensive partner for today? And then threw a dart at a dartboard. It's like, hey, today it's Matt Tennyson.
Yeah, and the thing is that it took some time, but now you kind of see the chemistry growing with these pairings. I almost want them to kind of get that on the power play and penalty kill at the same time, because they can actually, it's starting to look like they can read each other's minds, and they can just figure out where to go.
Compatible for all you Pacific Rim fans out there.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, and also, for the love of God, somebody take Classic off of the power play.
Please.
He is an offensive juggernaut for this team.
Hey,
No,
hold
he's
on.
not.
All right, hold on. I know that we're playing around with the Vlasic on the power play thing, and we all get a pretty good kick out of it. He is having a career year though, offensively. So it's not like he's not holding his own.
Vlasic is our highest scoring homegrown player under 30, don't forget.
Yeah, I mean that.
Well, yeah, he's holding his own, but he can't hold the puck in the zone.
Yeah. Well, it does seem to skip out of his grasp quite a few times. But it's pretty interesting the way that we're seeing Vlasic step up a little bit on the offensive side, and he had that 2-on-1 tonight, and he buried his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That's just good to see. That was his 5th goal halfway through the season. I mean, he's got 5 goals, and it's halfway through the season. Oh my God, It's crazy. It's crazy. So,
But you gotta say this though, is that yes, he did score tonight, which was good, but he was responsible for the 2-on-1 that happened that led to
Yakupov's goal.
Yakupov's goal, because he pinched it at the wrong time, and then it was an instant 2-on-1, and you can't do that against Edmonton because, yeah, if you look at them in the standings, you think that they're not good, but if you give them
The talent is there.
the talent is there, and if you give them that much ice, they have the speed and they can bury you very easily. So I thought that, yeah, it's cool, Vlasic scored, but then he gave up a 2-on-1, and Justin Braun's just kind of like, the fuck, bro? Why you do this to me?
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I agree. It's just it's interesting because you do see the blue line core this year having more points than they have had in a long time in the McClellan era, and I think we're starting to see Peter DeBoer's system, starting to take root here, because this team from the blue line is definitely a lot more offensive, and I don't know if that's a result of Burns being that catalyst on the blue line and everybody trying to take a cue from him, or if they're really trying to execute this system. We got an interesting question from Drew Weber. He does some writing for a couple blogs. He's a great ad on Twitter if you guys don't know him. But he's got a question for everybody. With the left side of the blue line under contract for a number of years, what do you think the future has in store for Mirko Mueller? That's a really good question, because you have Dylan, you have Vlasic, and you have Martin. So where do you think Mirko lines up, Ian?
Well, the thing with Mirko is that like right now he's just not ready, and like I was saying in the chat, the thing with Mirko Mueller is that he's too young to give up on yet. Not every defenseman is, Vlasic's the exception to the rule. He's not the rule. A lot of guys it takes until 24, 25 to really, really find their game. We do have a lot of the guys obviously on the left side locked down for a period of time. The thing is though, is Martin can play both sides of the ice on D very well. So you do have that as an option if you want to get Mirko in and move somebody up, like maybe Dylan, put Dylan with Martin or something. So I think there is room for him to move in there. But I still think the Barracuda is actually going to be pretty good next year, because I don't think that all your 2014 draft class guys are going to come over and just like steal spots on the big club, obviously. So if you can get guys like Noah Rod come over, Rourke Chartier is going to come up, and a few others, that Barracuda team might be a lot of fun to watch, especially if you keep like Yevlov's, his name.
Yeah, Nikita Yevlopol's.
And if you keep Goldobin down, because I don't foresee Goldobin making the jump next year either. I would purposely, just based on what's coming up, leave those guys all down there and see what happens, because I think that Barracuda team could be really, really good.
Well, you know what's interesting? You have Jeremy Waugh, who will be AHL eligible next year. No, 2 years.
No, 2 years.
2 years. Okay. So you've got him on the horizon, and let's just hope that he can continue to grow defensively. I think offensively he's got great instincts, but defensively I think he needs to clean up his game quite a bit. But if you've got Mirko marinating for a couple of years in the Barracuda, and that would put him at what, 24? We're talking 23, 24. And that's a good time for a defenseman to come up. I mean, I don't think being a 21-year-old is the greatest. It's not easy as a 21-year-old to jump up as a defenseman in the National Hockey League. So, so if you've got a maturated Mirko Mueller, you could potentially introduce a Jeremy Waugh to the fold and have him kind of guide him through, his beginning years as a defenseman. And I personally foresee Waugh and Mueller being your top pair, but way in the future.
Yeah, Waugh's gonna be a project, I think. Especially making the jump from junior to pro hockey. I think the sky's the limit for him, I still think, but it's gonna be a project.
Agreed. But you've got to have a good foundation to bring in an offensive dynamo on the blue line like that. You have to surround him with a foundational defenseman. I think Mirko could be that guy. You've just got to bring him along. Don't rush him.
Right.
And keep him maturing each year. I don't think you need to bring him up next year. I think you could just leave him down there. You've got Chartier, LeBlanc, Sadawi.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, it's going to be a good crop coming in, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So that's kind of you don't give up on a defenseman like that. I think you keep him in the fold at least to the age of 25, because that's when a defenseman really kind of shows his chops. They do take longer to develop.
You know what would help them develop better? Sorry to interrupt, Landy, but I had to get this off my chest really quick. You know what would help Jeremy Waugh and Mirko Mueller develop into better defensemen, into like the 1-2 punch that we are hoping for them? Better development coaching. You gotta make sure you use Larry Robinson to his full effect with these guys, with Rod, Waugh, and Mueller. I think you have the advantage of them. You need to use it and almost overuse it a little bit with these guys.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because we saw them burn a year off his off Mueller's ELC, and I just worry that they're going to rush players that aren't ready yet. Like Meyer, for instance, I really don't want them bringing him up next year to the big club.
Yeah,
he might be
back to junior.
He might be physically ready, but I really just would rather see them maturate just a little bit more. Same with Chartier and LeBlanc. because you don't want any more high potential picks souring on the vine like you've had with Petrecki and Doherty and Daniele Tarasov. These guys that were highly touted prospects just die on the vine.
Well, Tarasov, I mean, Tarasov was a free agent pickup too, so I mean, really no harm done there. The thing is that I mean, if these guys can make it legit at a camp, they make it legit at a camp, and I'm fine with that. I thought like Timo Meier, I think is going to be the time for him that's going to make the jump. I think it's going to be a lot smaller than a lot of the rest of these guys. Chartier could easily jump. I think he could easily jump a guy like Tierney in our system, depending on how quick he adjusts to the professional gaming with how Tierney's kind of stagnated. As much as I like Tierney,
it's interesting because I think the guy I see as the most NHL ready is Sadawi. I saw him in the preseason, and I just saw that his game translated really well to a third, fourth line role.
Yeah,
and I think that besides maybe Gaudreau, who I think should be in the NHL, besides those two, I mean, I think those are your most ready players right now.
Who's Gaudreau going to take the place of?
Well, you want him to take the place of Mike Brown because Mike Brown got all of 5 minutes tonight.
Oh, yeah, no, and I totally get you with that, but let's fast forward out 5 games. When Torres is ready and playing in Mike Brown's spot, who's Gaudreau going to take the place of?
No, good. If Torres plays, which we haven't even covered yet, but if Torres plays...
You haven't covered that?
No, we have not covered that.
Dude, what the fuck, man? Why am I even watching you guys?
I don't even know why you're watching us.
Yeah, I don't even know either. But anyhow,
Because we're the only Sharks game in town. What do you expect?
Yeah. Shameless plug. We are the only call-in, tweet-in show that you've got. So
Chat in.
That's why you're watching us. But
You have no choice. We're the only game in town. And you will love it. Right here, Landy.
Why does it sound like Gentry and Puck Guy are coming in through like a cheap Radio Shack CV right now?
Because it's AOL.
Because it's a question, and we've got answers.
Okay, who's gonna mute them first?
Yeah. Let's just
mute people.
Yeah. Let's just say Ian's gonna be not trigger shy on that mute button. Yeah. So. Okay, so for everybody who didn't know, you've got Raffi Torres was activated onto the roster. Dina Subris went to the IR.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Raffi going to the AHL, and he's going to play in a few Barracuda games. He's got a 2-week AHL stint for conditioning.
Let me ask you a question. Between now and the trade deadline, if everybody stays healthy, do you think Subris gets waived?
He is on the 2-way deal. It would make the most sense.
Okay. Yeah. I think the team likes Brown as much as we give him grief. They like him too much to waive him. Mm-hmm. I think Zubris kind of knows what his role is, what he needed to do, and that time's kind of starting to pass. If Tierney slumps again, I could see them maybe putting him down and bringing Zubris
at center.
Yeah, I could see that, but it all is really contingent on how Raffi plays. And we've had Chris come on, who he's had similar injuries before. He's said it's a difficult road back, and Raffi's played 12 games in 2 calendar years.
Yeah,
that's not a lot, and I don't know if he gets back and we get 60% of the Raffi Torres of before, I will be happy. But I am skeptical that we'll get even that out of this.
No, I would totally agree with you on that. And, yeah, no, that's perfect. The other thing
Well,
is holy I'm sorry, what?
Oh, you've bounced off. Your connection.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I must have switched to AOL for a moment. So the the thing that I wanted to talk about too, Kevin Kurz mentioned it. I'm not sure if Pashelka actually like lit up on it, but I know like Ross McKeon made it. There was like 3 or 4 guys that made a mention of it, but Kurz was the one that blew it up the most. And we were talking about it when we first, once the puck dropped, is that at puck drop there was no way that there were more than 8,500 people in the seats. That place was half full when the puck dropped.
Yeah, no, I saw it translated on TV too. You saw half of the lower bowl just empty. Yeah. And I think that that's a byproduct of that home record. I really do. When they clean it up, and if they can get back to 500, it wouldn't surprise me if you start to see some fans show up. But right now, the Sharks have not earned the dollar of the home fan, because why?
You gotta win. You gotta win. And the other thing that I was discussing too is, just like in the article that I put on Pucknology, a lot of people from some.
Oh, and we just lost AJ Strong. He was referencing his article about fandom and what kind of fan you do fall into. But I would go ahead and give that a quick read. It's a pretty good article. So,
I mean, the thing is too with the Edmonton game. Look, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously I'm not local, but like some teams obviously aren't going to draw as well as others, and I still feel like the Oilers without McDavid, I think McDavid might draw people that are curious about all the hype about this guy to the seats, but it's not really the sexiest team to come in either. Like, it doesn't seem like that's like with how much love somebody, like with how, because let's be honest, like down there, like how often do you see the Oilers on NBC? Probably never, right? So I mean, it's like it's not a sexy team. It's not going to bring people to the seats because they don't really get covered at all down there.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a time when a Thursday game, when it was the big ticket item in town, a Thursday game against the Oilers would sell out, and
Thursday games in general were doing good. But the thing that I just wanted to mention real quick, and then I'll jump off, is the fact that just like I had done in the Pucknology article, dude, more and more families going to Barracuda, less and less, dude. I didn't see a whole lot of kids tonight. Not like I saw last year, the season before, dude. I'm telling you, I don't think we're going to see the Barracuda in San Jose longer than 2-3 seasons, because they're going to realize that it's cutting into the San Jose Sharks' profits, and they're going to get moved. That's the only thing. I'm just seeing it more and more and more. So that was all. Have a good show, guys. I will see you after Dallas on Saturday. Good night, all, and I will tell you all about my Jamie Baker encounter.
For those of you who did not know, Mr. Strong won some tickets on a Twitter raffle, and he got to see Mr. Jamie Baker himself and a special guest.
How could you not know that he won them? He just kept tweeting about it. We get it! You won tickets because you know David Bowie. We get it!
So, if you didn't catch what Gentry said, then you're the Jets, they just fly right over. But anyhow, yeah, so we were kind of talking about what's going to happen on that fourth line spot, and Torres, it's going to be a long road back, and I don't know what we'll get out of him, and it'd be lucky if he plays 20 games.
I mean, I'm looking forward. Like I'm looking forward to watching the game. I believe we're playing Rockford on Saturday, I think.
Yes.
It is. So I'm looking forward. I'm actually I'm going to make that some much-see television time, and I want to see how he does and how he looks, and then kind of go from there. But to me, I refuse to pencil Rafi Torres into my Sharks roster. I'll believe it when I see it after this.
Yeah, same with me. And I was a pretty big optimist about him, but I just don't see it. We've got Justin Armian from talking to a few people with the local WSHL team here in Fresno. The original plan was to have the CUDA here in Fresno, but they couldn't get a deal with the city. I wouldn't be surprised if they move them in a season or two. Well, Fresno is definitely an option. I think Sacramento probably is on the table. You want to keep them close, but you don't want to, interfere with Bakersfield's rights because you've got the Condors, you've got Stockton Heat, you've got Ontario Reign, and you got the Goals. And I still have not yet made it to a Goals game, but they are selling out routinely in my neck of the woods, which is pretty amazing. The Sports Arena was one of the older venues in San Diego, but it's drawing really well, and from what I hear, the product on the ice is just awesome.
Have you gone to a game yet?
No, I haven't. I should have gone yesterday when they played the Barracuda, but I did not realize that they were playing until about 7:10, so puck had already dropped. and not to mention, they've been selling out since they got here.
Yeah,
you can't find a ticket on your local resale or on your initial seller. You can probably find them on StubHub, but Ticketmaster or wherever you get your normal tickets, they don't have any. They're sold out. So, anyhow.
Well, I guess it's because San Diego is hungry for a winning team.
Yeah, something like that.
They're on kind of a slide now, but I mean the Gulls are a pretty good team. Like they've got some decent prospects down there that I definitely like watching.
You've got Chester Chivo saying no other sports in San Diego. Well, yeah. Well, if the Chargers move, then yeah, you're gonna have some big some big shoes to fill. We can go over the entire saga of sports here, but I will not. Just the fact that hockey is growing really well here in Southern California is pretty amazing, and it's pretty good to see, pretty nice to see. So, yeah, definitely have to get out there. Going back to the game, though, I don't like the fact that they're icing Mike Brown, and he's getting 5 minutes of ice time. 5 minutes of ice time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we're trying to make him our new John Scott, who, by the way, was placed on waivers not that long.
And sent to the AHL.
Yeah.
That's what he'll be back for the All-Star game.
Yeah, he'll be back for the All-Star game.
Captain for the All-Star game is currently on waivers.
Hey, it matches the style of play that we have in the Pacific Division. He is the perfect poster child for this division. Thank you very much. That is your fucking captain, fucking John Scott. So, it's just, to me, it's just so dumb that you keep trotting him out there, especially against a team that doesn't have a bunch of face smashers. Sure, you had Eric Gryba, being a little angry tonight, a little surly, but nothing that Tommy Wingles or Brendan Dillon couldn't take care of. Why not have Smith? Well, who knows, because Smith is, I guess, in the eternal doghouse of Peter DeBoer, or Gaudreau play in that spot and give you some good minutes. You had Carlson and Carlson and Tierney playing about 10 minutes tonight, which is pretty good for a fourth line. If you got another guy pulling his weight, then you wouldn't be gassing Jumbo. And if you looked at that overtime period tonight, they were gassed. I actually could not believe that we didn't see the Oilers score in that 3-on-3 tonight.
I was surprised by that too, but it was Jones who was really holding the fort. And you know what? I gotta give Jones a lot of credit tonight. He was there, and I want to, and I think what we're seeing right now with our bottom, with our bottom six, is that you're seeing Chris Tierney get talented wingers to move the puck to, which makes them more effective. I mean, because last year, when Chris Tierney had, fucking Pacific Division, captain John Scott on his line, and Mike Brown, I think they were just like, here, we're setting you up to fail. Have fun, Tierney.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost like
for sure.
Development disaster right there in the NHL.
Yeah. I didn't like the way that they handled Tierney at all last year, and not letting him play in that Stadium Series game was just, it was infuriating because the poor kid.
Yeah, and that was infuriating. And it was infuriating when you put John Scott in because you're thinking, we want a big physical presence because yes, it's a big event and you want, but also it's 2 points and it's against one of your biggest rival right now and then you don't, there's no fights, there's nothing, and they get, okay, never mind. I don't want to go into my tangent about that dating series game, but anywho, I thought that our bottom six is starting to kind of step up, and they're looking good, which is great. And I think having Zoopers in your back pocket if anything goes down is nice to have. And for me, with Barclay Goodrow, what do you do with him? If the rumors are true about Wingles being on the trade block,
Along with Smith.
Yeah, along with Smith, you have the potential to put Goudreau on any one of those roster spots.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that you could have. I definitely think that. Well, I'm more of the opinion that it's going to be Matt Nieto and Smith versus Wingles and
Who's
Smith.
going to take Wingles with this? I mean, it's not that Wingles makes a ton of money. I can't see what a team could possibly see in Wingles at that price at this point.
I don't know either. I mean, he draws a lot of penalties, but that's about it. He does penalty kill occasionally, but yeah, he's just in a really bad rut this year. I mean, he's got 11 points. He's minus 11. And it just has not looked like the shoot first player that we've seen. I mean, we've seen him on a 3-on-1, and he coughed the puck up. He didn't even shoot. I mean, and that was 20 games ago, and that's still seared into my impression of him. So, it's just not working out, and I don't know what you do with a player like that. And Nieto, he just looks so small out there. He plays so small out there, and I give him credit for the block shots and for the intensity that he goes out on the penalty kill. But him and Wingles on the PK are just a nightmare. And so, for me, at least, Nieto is the one that you probably get rid of, Nieto and Smith, and you try and dangle for a seventh defenseman. And, at this point, we all know what the cap is like.
Yeah.
It's going to take at least Raffy going to LTIR, trading.
Wingles is what, another $1.5 million?
Yeah. Yeah, so it would at least take LTIR for Torres, and then a trade for Nieto and Smith to get some kind of cap room back. But still, it'd be hard to swing anything for that. I
mean, that's actually, it's funny because there's a lot of chat about Smith. Just a lot of chat about Smith in the chat, surprisingly. To me, I think this is one of the biggest disappointments for me this year, because when we got Smith, I was really excited about getting Smith, because the outcry from a lot of Chicago fans, it was palpable. There's a lot of people that are like, man, this is what happens when you sign Kane and Taves to these deals, and we get it, but it's a tough thing to see happen. And then he doesn't get into the lineup right away because Mike Brown is loved more by everyone in San Jose for God knows why, and you go on there, and then on top of that, then he gets hurt when he finally does get to play. He gets hurt, and I just feel like we never really got to see, and it's upsetting to me that again, in place of because he would be a better option in place of Mike Brown. I mean, there's a lot of players we could use in place of Mike Brown, and this guy just can't see the ice, and it bothers me because I really don't feel like we ever really got the chance to really see what we got in that trade.
No, I totally agree, and I think where he went wrong was the preseason. I don't think that he made a very good impression in the preseason with Peter DeBoer. He had a chance to really step up into a spot when Melker Karlsson was down. Mm-hmm. He wasn't able to grasp onto it. Mm-hmm. And the impressions continue to fail from there on, and I don't think we'll see him unless he's an injury replacement. And I hope that we don't have an injury where we have to play him, because if Peter DeBoer is got a reason for not playing him, I'm sure. I'm not sure, but I would hope for a good reason why he's not playing. Mm-hmm. But I agree. I don't think he got a fair shake, and I kind of seem the same way with Tyler Kennedy. I don't think he got a fair shake here either. But Tyler Kennedy is now not in the NHL anymore,
he's in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, he's in Jersey. Is he on the team, or is
he's third line.
Oh, third line. Well, You've got Shepard. Shepard, who was what I was thinking. He's not in the NHL.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. We got Fusion 86 saying Smith got forced into a center role in San Jose when he was much more effective in Chicago on the wing. Well, if that was the case, then why is he not playing instead of Mike Brown?
Because they love Mike Brown. Like, that's just one of those things. It's like, why is the sky blue? Because it is. Yeah. Mike Brown plays because he does.
And I guess we're, misguided sluts, according to the mainstream media, because, we don't want to see a face masher on the fourth line. But,
right.
What do we know? We only watch every game and analyze it and break it down more so than most. But, that's neither here nor there. Let's go on to something a little more happier. How about Joe Thornton's resurgence?
Hey, Joe Thornton's awesome. What can I say? I still, I mean, look, I always like Joe Thornton. I still think that it's going to be a tough decision what you do next year when him and Marleau come up, because that's a real crossroads, I think, for this team. And I would not be, I'd be sad, but I wouldn't be like, my fan heart would be cry, and then but like my brain would say, okay, well, it's probably time. If they weren't brought back. Personally, I think that if Doug Wilson's here, they're probably both getting brought back, and we can prolong the inevitable for another 3 years. But hey, Joe Thornton's still still a great player. He's he's always going to be one of my favorite players. It's been awesome to it's a guy who I basically watched since junior, play hockey. So I think from that perspective, it's always going to be something that's awesome to me. But I just feel like no other team is relying on 36-year-olds to really drive the boat. Like, yeah, Florida has Yager, but they also have Huberdeau and a crop of young players behind him. It's not just all journeymen and older players. And I feel like the Sharks need to really get that, because I mean, if you looked at you look at the game tonight against Edmonton, when Edmonton got a chance to put on their speed. They made us look old and slow on a couple of occasions tonight.
No, I agree, and that's why the 2014 draft class is so important for the hinge of this franchise, because it can go either one of two ways. It's either this crop really helps the depleted forward situation you're going to have in 1 to 2 years, or it's just going to be a continuation of what you see now, where you see rehashes of old players who just can't keep up. I mean, Leon Draisaitl, oh my God, that kid is so good. And he's just going to eat up the Sharks in a couple of years. You got Hall being Taylor Hall, and you finally got Yakupov, finally showing what he can do.
And the management, like, and the thing that everyone's like, everyone, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh well, Edmonton, LOL, ruining all the first round picks, but like, they totally overhauled that management group, and I think that's the one thing that gets constantly overlooked when everyone's like, oh well, it's Edmonton, they're just gonna waste, they're gonna waste McDavid and blah blah blah, but I don't, with that management group and the things they've done already, I have plenty of faith that Edmonton is going to be dangerous.
They sorry guys. First off, can you hear me all right? I switched to my headphones.
I can hear you.
Okay. Basically, I mean, that when they landed that #1 pick and they knew they were going to get McDavid, it changed the whole psyche and the whole karma of the team. When you got Chiarelli and you got Todd, you just got a whole new attitude. And I think beforehand, and Gentry mentioned this tonight when we were at the game, how they were playing a little more chippier, a little more on the defensive side, rather than trying to over offensively get you. And I think that's a change from the psyche that they've had before. So I think that's something that they'll have down the road. And once they land a defenseman, that's going to be unreal.
Well, I think they have that guy, and his name is
Darnell
Nurse. Yeah, boy, he looks pretty good, and he was a guy that I looked at and said finally they made a good choice in the first round for a defenseman because that kid was going to be good, and they did the right thing. They left him to mature. They did not bring him up as a lot of Edmonton fans wanted. They wanted him up.
They wanted him up, and they sent him back to junior, which is where he belonged. And
yeah, so it's going to be interesting because you've got this Edmonton team, this young and up and coming Edmonton team. They're going to be good. You've got Calgary, who I think is still going to be good. You're going to have Johnny Hockey and Sean Monahan be a 1-2. They wouldn't surprise me if they play like a Ben and a Sagan here in a few years, or actually probably more like a Kane and a Taves, because Kane and Johnny Hockey are similar size, stature. Kane is a little bit bigger, but I think they play a similar game. He did model his game after that. And as far as go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if in like 3 or 4 years now, the way that they're talking about the Pacific Division is how they are talking like the Central Division right now. Because you're going to have Bennett and Monahan, or Goodrow for Calgary. You got all the kids in Edmonton. We can only hope that all the kids in San Jose will work out. And by then, you will start to see the LAs and the Anaheims start to slow down because they need to get some younger guys on the run, and it's going to be crazy.
No, I think
don't forget Arizona too. I mean,
Arizona.
Exactly, with Duclair and Domi.
And Domi, yeah.
And Domi, and they've got Strome still waiting to come up.
And they have the defense scorer. Oliver Ekman Larson's only going to get better, which is a scary thought.
Yeah, Arizona. Thank you so much, Ian. Is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think. I mean, look, we were saying all year, anytime now it's going to fall apart. Anytime it's going to fall apart. It hasn't fallen apart. This team is good right now, and they're doing it without their starting goaltender.
Well, their starting goaltender's not very good to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not a big Mike Smith fan to be quite honest. I just think that team's defensive style is really helping out. And Dave Tippett, man, he's a master at the defensive style and boring hockey, but it gets the job done. It does. You can't argue with the results. And when you've got a little spark plug like Max Domi doing what he's doing, and you've got that defensive clamp down style, you're going to win a lot of games. I tell you what, and I was on the show, one of the first shows that I did pre-draft. I said, boy, if the Sharks, if they could get a hold of Max Domi any way they could, whether or not they had to give up a hurdle, I said, you got to do that, because that kid is, I knew that kid was going to be amazing, and here he is. So,
something in Arizona too. It's just sorry to go back to Arizona for a second. I think what's really flown under the radar here is this Louis Domingue, who's come in and played for them. I mean, the guy so far this season is 7-2-3. He's a 23-year-old. He's only going to get better. 2.21 goals against average, .928 save percentage. Again, small sample size, obviously, but geez.
Yeah. We've got a quote coming in from the game. Thanks to Chester Chivo for relaying the information to us. DeBoer, after the game, he said, "I thought we had really good energy tonight considering the schedule." And Chester adds, he must not be referencing the OT. Yeah, agreed. If you had any optics for that OT, you saw that guys were getting left hanging out to dry. Mm-hmm. Pavelski and Thornton just looked gassed.
They were gassed. I was scared going into that. Like I said earlier, I was scared of going into that because, they look gassed in the third, and then to go to 3-on-3 against, especially against that Edmonton team, like that 3-on-3 always,
We've also we're gonna do some Twitter wrapping up here because we're gonna hit the hour mark pretty soon, and we're trying to keep about to an hour these days. We've got Generation X-Wing. He at Puck Guy always says Sommer sucks and he's killing our prospects. And then he's got me and Ian saying, I'm stoked about our prospects. It gives me hope. Well, yes, Sommer does suck, but we just got to hope that the prospects grow in spite of Sommer.
But and here's the thing too. I mean, all the prospects that we've basically been talking about were exciting yet. They haven't been touched by Sommer yet. These guys are all still playing junior. And but I still think, and let's be honest. I mean, the AHL team has always been an afterthought with this franchise.
It
And
has.
next year could be the first year where it's actually, kind of good. Like it looks like they could have like a decent team, maybe the best AHL team that we've iced in a significant amount of time, as long as I can remember.
Since we were the Kentucky Thoroughblades,
or when we were the Kansas City Blades and we won the Turner Cup the very first year the Sharks were in business.
Yeah. We've also got Chester Chivo. He's asking, NBC reporting the Duran trade could be done by Friday. Thoughts on where he might land? Well, we've got Colorado is an interesting place only because you might want to reunite him with Jonathan Drouin and, oh my God, center
McKinnon?
first overall, McKinnon, thank you. Yes, and you've got the obvious connection with Patrick Waugh. You've got who else? Who else is on the radar, Ian? St. Louis.
St. Louis. Yep.
Yeah, somebody was chiming in St. Louis, the Blues. So
who are the Blues thinking about sending to Tampa then?
Well, it'd have to be Shattenkirk and Fabrique is what I heard.
Fabry, yeah. Fabry seems like the thing. I don't know if you'd get Shattenkirk in the deal too. It sounds like Robbie Fabry would be the guy going the other way.
Yeah. And Mini to Minnesota. Heard they wanted Dumba. I don't think that's a starter for Minnesota. I think they've got to keep their young blue line intact. I think it would be the other blue liner that they've got, the young kid was up
not
for
Holla.
No, not Holla. The guy that was up for the Calder here. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, Tampa does need D. That does make sense for a Tampa Minnesota kind of hookup there. Let's see. We've got on their blue line.
Landy, did you hear Bettman's interview in Calgary this week?
No. What was going on?
It was someone requested to talk about that. I didn't know if you'd heard the interview or not.
Brodin was who I was thinking. Jonas Brodin. I think that he would probably be the guy that they would, if they can't get Dumba, they would go for Brodin. We've got the one Slushy Jake question.
Okay.
So Slushy Jake, you get your question.
Oh,
he asks if Teemu Selanne doesn't miss the open net and the Sharks win Game 7, and I guess he's referring to the Colorado series.
Yeah.
Yep, 2002.
Do they make it to the finals in 2002? I'm going to say no. And the reason why is because you had Detroit, and this is the Detroit era where they had the Sharks number, where Detroit really played well up until the Thornton era. When Thornton was dealt to the Sharks, then that's when you started to see the Sharks kind of hold their own against Detroit because they had their puck possession monster. But before that... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say they would give them a good run, but yeah, I'm not sure if Detroit would lose that. Yeah, Detroit would have won that series, I think, in like 6.
Yeah, I think Detroit would have rolled the Sharks, and unfortunately, Slushy, I just don't think that Sharks team had enough guns to go real far. Okay, wrapping
you guys
up.
Still going. I fucking love it. You guys are still going. This is fucking awesome.
Hey, we're at an hour and 3 minutes, man. We're trying to wrap this thing up. Chris Edwards is asking Scandella and Spurgeon. I don't see Tampa wanting any part of those two. It's going to be either Dumba or Brodin. They're going to ask for one of those two kids. And For Minnesota, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look at Steve Yzerman. I mean, he always seems to you can't count him out. Like every time you think like he's just gonna get bent over the barrel, it doesn't seem to happen. Like maybe Stamkos will walk away for nothing, but you look at what happened with Martin St. Louis. He had one trade destination, and I still think that he did really well in even though it looked like it would just be like Yzerman kind of getting owned, I still think Yzerman did very, very well in the in that trade.
Yeah, no, I think he pulled a nugget out of shit. He really did. I mean, he was dealt a really bad hand, and he was able to pull out a good return.
I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if he does pull off something great.
Oh, Chris, I just wanted to name off who you were taking. I don't think you're a dumbass. I think those are good. Those would be good asks by Minnesota, because literally the conversation will go like this. You'll get a call from Chuck Fletcher, and he's going to say, "Hey, I want Duran," and then Steve Yzerman's going to say, "Yeah, I want Dumba," or "I want Dumba plus," And then Chuck Fletcher's going to go, "Well, I've got this guy named Marco Scandella. I can package him with a Brodeen, and maybe that gets that done, but I don't think so. The ask is definitely going to be Dumba plus." So those are good names to throw out there, but I just, you know what, the way that Steve Yzerman really, the way he operates is just to try and make something out of thin air.
He's a smooth operator.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't think you're a dumbass either, obviously.
Well,
AJ, did you want to add anything?
No, I just wanted to say a couple things that were very funny. When
I'm surprised you could come down and commune with us common folk now. I mean, I limousines and jet planes and.
Do not go full fucking Gen X on me, you motherfucker.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We're scum.
We are worms.
Oh, you guys suck. So the best part, one of the funniest was obviously I'll get into the Baker thing after the next show. It was awesome. But when I tweeted out the photo that I got of me, Baker, and Remenda, tweeted it out, and I don't know, after it was all said and done, came up onto the mezzanine, got into a beer line to get a beer, ran into Puck Guy and Gentry, said, "Hey guys, what's up?" Blah blah blah, and so where you sitting? Oh, okay. And I asked Puck Guy, I go, "Hey man, did you see that photo I tweeted out?" And he just looked at me and he's just like, "Get the fuck away from me."
Yeah, that's a fuck off moment right there. I think we were all like that.
But the best part of this, what just made this day, it's like, okay, it's the first 3-on-3 I've ever seen. They won the game, had the Baker thing, and then when I get home, you guys are gonna fucking love this. I get home, hey, shut the fuck up. I get a package, and look who signed the package. Right?
Let's zoom over to AJ real quick. We've got congrats. Is that S Sharky? Yeah.
And then look, so he sent me a little stuffed animal, a puck, a fat head, autographed 8x10, a sticker. So I even come home and I got Sharky shit in my house, but because I know that Landy and Ian are not in the area, I hooked you guys up. Autograph team photos, bitch.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
All right.
Wow. All right. You're off the hook.
All right, dude.
But the problem is with both of these photos, it's your boy John Scott.
Hey,
that's fine.
I love my boy John Scott.
He's the fucking captain of the Pacific Division All-Star team.
That's right.
Wow, way to schmooze him over there, AJ.
So AJ, my only question is for you is when are any of these people coming on the show?
Oh, yeah, I didn't talk to him about that.
Oh, come on, you weren't able.
Oh, come on,
dude. There was a couple things that once it was you get wrapped up in the moment, you forget there's a couple things that you want to ask, and I forgot to ask most of them, but I will say now here let me just tell you this really quick, and I do want to cover it in length after the next show, because obviously you guys want to get out of here. But one of the best parts is we were coming down from the press box, and we got into this hallway. Janice, the woman who like always makes sure that Randy's tie game is on point, comes through the hallway. See her. Not more than 10 seconds later, as Drew and Baker are sitting there discussing the differences between the Sharks and the Oilers, then Randy walks through, and then not more than like 2 minutes later, Ruzanowski walks through, and it was just cool because they're kind of giving each other shit, but the best part was my buddy Brett and I, we were literally flies on the wall while Drew and Baker sat there for 5 minutes discussing the Oilers. It's basically Remenda giving Baker tips and things about the Oilers, stuff that he could talk about on the broadcast and vice versa. But the best part was it sounded like a Pucknology after dark. At one point, Remenda's talking about one of the Oilers going, "Oh, this fucking guy, he's getting $4 fucking million. He's scared of the goddamn puck." Dude, it was awesome.
Ah,
fucking awesome. So
did at any time did Drew call Bakes an ignorant slut?
No, not at all. No. But either way, it was a fucking blast. Like I said, we'll get into that after the Dallas game. But yeah, it was a blast. And dude, hell of a fucking day, dude. Hell of a fucking day. We'll cover it, but Ian and Landy, you guys will have to DM me your addresses so I can shoot this stuff off to you. And I think we also, let's see here, hold on. I have to go through my little pile of stuff that I pulled. I don't know if you guys would be interested in it, but okay, no, not that one. Hold on. I have like I said, I have a pile of stuff here. Hold on. I have at least. Okay. Okay, hold on. Shit's about to fall. I hate to leave everybody hanging, but I have like 3 or 4 of these, and I will. You guys DM me your addresses, and along with the signed team photo, we'll throw you the your card as well.
Oh, dude, I love it.
All
okay.
Right. You are a beautiful motherfucker. You know that, right?
And you know what I also have?
Wow.
Extras of.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. We're not worthy.
Oh,
like, holy shit.
I'm like, hey, who's your buddy now?
Yeah, you're a beautiful motherfucker.
Look at that beautiful mug.
Who's your
All
buddy?
right. All right, AJ. We love you, brother. All right, Eric. Sign us off with the signature.
I can't compete with that. But Sharks do win 2-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. I'm almost home, thank goodness. I have to work in about 4.5 hours. Awesome. We will be back Saturday night following the Sharks and Stars. Let's hope for a miracle, folks, as the Sharks will try to go for 3 in a row at home. Oh, my. Oh, my. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you visit Pucknology.net. And make sure you follow us on Twitter, all of us. Until Saturday night, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it real fresh. Good night, and be safe while driving in the rain.
Night all. Thank you for tuning in. And like Puck Guy said, subscribe below. Good night.